Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. There's no discharge in the war.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another riveting episode of Shepherd's Pie. I'm David.
And I'm Tommy.
What are we going into today, Tommy?
Today's episode, we are going to be looking into the strange and wonderful worlds of demons and angels.
I want to preface a little bit because this is something I am eager to get into. I want to talk more faith stuff outside. Like, obviously, we string everything back to faith and the Bible, but I want to specifically talk about these things and not just tie everything else into it outside of our Bible cast. And I feel like this is a good topic, the angels and the demons, because I feel like a lot of people commonly misconstrue what is an angel and a demon.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to preface this whole episode by saying we probably are going to do that here as well.
Yeah.
Neither of us has finished the Bible. We're not biblical scholars. We haven't read any of the extracurricular text, like Enoch, where a lot of these descriptions come from, or any of the Jewish texts where they talk about angels or demons alike. We're pretty much just going off of our own research, stories we've heard, anecdotal stories that we've heard people tell or that we've experienced ourselves. But for the most part, we are going to say a lot of things that will need to be checked. Take it with a grain of salt. We might sow some falsehoods here, and I do apologize in advance, and it kind of makes me hesitant to do this episode because I don't want to say anything that's incorrect, but humanity doesn't really know anything about angels and demons.
Very true.
Very true. We kind of just theorize, and then you have strange fringe motherfuckers that claim that, I had this experience and I ascribe it to an angel, or I had this experience, I ascribe it to a demon. Or you have the people that are Satanists and actively practice working with demons, or people that are, I don't even know what religion you would call it, but the people that try to actively pray to and worship angels. Those things do exist. So we have to be mindful.
I don't know if we necessarily need to worry too much, about
I'm not
being 100%
worried.
This is just
I just
kind
want
of
to preface that,
Yeah.
For sure, we don't know entirely what we're talking about, but we do want to talk about this subject because we see people getting it wrong, and we know that we're going to get it wrong, but we still want to talk about it.
And definitely want to talk about it and just share what we know. That's all it really is. It's culture has given us something. This whole framework and everything. I mean, look at your movies, look at your TV, and
right.
It's already inundating you with falsehoods. I
kind of wanted to start there. That would be a good place to start, because that is apart from church or the Bible, if people do ever, most people don't go to church. Most people don't read the Bible, even if they are Catholic or Christian. They're kind of just taught these things. So kind of like a game of telephone, the message gets fucked up over time because we as people don't convey our oral tradition in the same way that we ought to, or that we used to, which is a very specific and literal dissecting the words sort of way. When the oral tradition was carried over back in the past, it wasn't like a game of telephone. You get this misconception now where people were telling stories generation after generation, and the story gets fucked up. But actually, when you didn't have TV and you didn't have video games and you don't have porn, you don't have all this bullshit distracting you, you and your clan get together at the end of the night, every fucking night after work, you share a meal together and you all talk. And when you talk, you debate and you discuss the meanings of words and you discuss these stories. So when the stories were conveyed, seldom, I believe, were they misconstrued, like these games of telephones that we're playing now, where a parent that never went to church just learned from their parent, or never read the Bible, just learned from church and their parent about these things, tried to teach their kid who never read the Bible or went to church about these things. And now you've got several generations, even just a couple generations, can fuck up the whole message if you don't actually know what you're talking about. So we're looking into it. We're trying to at least...
I feel like they were kind of living it, you know? Like, the picture you're describing, you know, like with these oral traditions. It was less like today, like, most of the time we're just watching a movie, you know, or hearing it from people randomly, or, you know, just, it's very secondhand, third-hand information. But these guys, what they were doing is they're telling these stories mostly because they were pertinent. And so they would end up experiencing things throughout their days, talking about it, and then they would tell the stories, you know, and it would end up translating that way.
Right.
It was more firsthand, you know, like, I don't know, we see these movies of demons and ghosts and angels, and it feels very removed. Yeah. But it feels like back then it was like God was more on the earth, you know. He was a pillar of fire for a while, you know, living in a tent out in the desert, and people saw it, and it was more like tangible. It was just closer, and I do feel that we're kind of dissociated from it, in that it actually helps the enemy a lot. Like that level of distance that I don't necessarily think is that's not an organic thing. I don't think that's just because God isn't a pillar of fire on the earth either. I think it's a very intentional thing too. Always trying to separate us and create more distance from God, ruin our understanding of who we are and where we come from. Like, it's all getting twisted and turned and corrupted.
So speaking of, there's something I came across in my studies, is that, like, along the way, it seems like more and more talk of angels came into the Bible, and that they kind of reflected Zoroastrianism. So there's this idea that there's this huge influence from Zoroastrianism on the early Jews, and that's where they get these ideas about angels and these stories of angels. So, like, I don't know, I got to do more research on Zoroastrianism. That is a big thing with, like, Christianity denial, is that, like, you know, you had the Jews back in the day living in all these different lands, and as they did, they kind of absorbed some of these beliefs. You know, we're kind of, like, in the early days of the Bible, the first couple books of Moses, we're meant to believe that that's not really the case, because they're going around and slaying all these tribes for having different beliefs, and God's telling them straight up, don't take anything of theirs, you know, because it's all tainted, essentially. But I don't know how much of this, like, is actually canonical, how much it is actually prophetical or truly biblical, if it's maybe coming from another religion, because these people they're like, a lot of this angel, like, the demonology comes from fucking Satanists, people that worship demons. Like, a lot of that shit comes from them, so how much can they be trusted? And then the angel stuff comes from, like, angelologists. I don't know, I forget what they're called, but there's, like, literally people within the church that study angels. And so it took them a long time to come up with this structure that we're going to be talking about today, that the Christianity world sees angels within.
These guys are studying, you know, like a lot of even the bad guys, you know, like their grimoires and their texts and traditions that they hand down. It's and over time, yeah, pretty much. It's all handed down, it's over time too, with the Bible and with like angels and stuff, and in their construction of this hierarchy of angels, they're probably just finding a lot of similarities, and they also get a lot of like firsthand accounts from their priests and stuff. They have like meetings, where they have like the heads of different churches and different regions come together into one area and they talk about things, and like exorcism's a thing, like there's a whole division for exorcism, and then they keep archives of everything. So if you're poring over all of these accounts, these investigations you've done, all this data really throughout pretty much 2,000 years, so you're going to have a lot of stuff to go off of, and you just kind of take the similarities of certain things, and you can, I bet there's definitely going to be patterns that crop up, and with like angels, they have a certain way of operating, demons have a certain way of operating, and you just follow the patterns and you can probably find distinction. And right. I do believe that you do find distinction. I don't think that there's just like one class of angel for sure.
Right.
Even in the Bible, it's outlined. We get 3 distinct outlines in the Bible. We get the cherubim, the seraphim, and the what's the other one? So for angels, we get
the seraphim, the cherubim, and
thrones.
Yeah, the thrones are also called, I had it right here. Forget about it. I'll have it later. I'll bring it back up.
I looked into it, and demons are brought up quite a few times.
So angels are actually brought up around 200 times, like give or take. And there's like an even split between the Old and New Testament, between the mentions.
Yeah.
So it's not like once the Jews were with these Babylonians or the Zoroastrians or these ancient peoples that had different beliefs, and they absorbed all of this, and then angels showed up. Like there is kind of an even consistent mentioning of them. And there is more than what Tommy just mentioned in the Bible. Like most of them are mentioned in the Bible. They're more clarified in apocryphal texts. Like there's a lot of stuff in Enoch about descriptions of angels, but they are all mentioned within the canonical Bible.
Yeah. Demons are mentioned roughly over 75 times in the New Testament, at least.
Okay.
And demons appearing, so there's like 75 to we can just extrapolate just a little bit more just in case to like 100, and then you see that angels are mentioned quite a bit. Angels are,
I just said give or take 200.
Yeah, I saw that in the Bible they appear over 100 times in the Old Testament and over 160 in the New Testament. So we're almost at 300. And then we get that story of the fall, where a third of the angels fell out of heaven. So then we get a little less than 100 and then a little less than 300, comparing the two just numbers.
Mentions.
Yeah, and so like even statistically, just in how many times they're mentioned in the Bible, that almost feels like it lines up. That's like that's where my brain goes with it.
That's a cool point.
So,
I never thought of that.
And that's pretty like it. Nowhere does it really tie those together. It's just that just me seeing it like that. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, huh, So because it begs to question, what are demons? What are they?
Before we get into specifics, I want to talk about misconceptions. Because
the misconceptions.
Yeah, I want to talk about Hollywood, TV, pop culture, what people commonly misbelieve about angels and demons.
Okay.
Because, like, that's where a lot of people's foundation is. So we got to start by shattering that first. Because, like, I don't know, people...
Well, they see them all buff. You know, you
People
see
think-
demons all buff and like.
Well, so like you've been watching Supernatural for a while. They just
Yeah.
took R.I.P. They just took Supernatural off of Netflix there. But like,
Sadness.
you know, as great of a show as it is, it massively misrepresents biblical canon. Like,
Oh yeah, huge.
Like, the demons are not people. Demons are not corrupted souls.
Yeah.
It states in the Bible, demons are the angels that fell with Satan. They're Satan's angels. That's how they're referred to. So there's nowhere that's saying anywhere that a soul gets corrupted and becomes a demon. Likewise, there's nowhere that it says a soul becomes an angel. The only ever reference of a living man becoming an angel was Enoch. And that's removed from the Bible. And I think maybe for that reason, like...
Yeah.
And
It's not something that happens all the time,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. So if you're thinking Granny's up there as an angel looking down on you, or one of your dead ancestors as your guardian angel, no, that's not how it works. It's
Yeah, they're just up in heaven.
yeah, they're like an extension of God, tools of God. There's this argument whether or not they have free will. I couldn't say. I would say
They
they
have to.
probably
They have
do
to.
if they're able to fall.
Yep.
You know, that would make the most sense. Unless, like, God designed them to fall. It was all part of the plan. That kind of makes sense, too.
I don't
But-
believe it. I just don't. I think that was definitely, you know, like he could account for that, you know.
Yeah.
I that's what I think, but I think they fell. They decided to rebel. Like that was on Lucifer, you know, it was on those angels. They banded together to try and overthrow the whole thing.
Right.
They didn't have to, you know, they didn't have to. It was something they decided to do.
Right.
And I think that angels could probably fall now, you know. Any of the remaining angels, if they decided to go against God, they could fall right now, you know.
I feel like the way demons are portrayed, at least the way they're portrayed in media, is very accurate. Cunning, beguiling, seductive,
Yes.
alluring, generally beautiful, you know, making deals, always cutting you dirty. Like that is Satan and the demons.
Yep.
But
I think that there's a disconnect where it's in Hollywood and in media, it's a very physical thing, you know, that you see these demons being depicted as. It's like very physical, tangible thing. They're talking to these demons. They're, you know, making deals with these demons, like interacting with them humanly, you know, and that's a huge misconception in itself because these things aren't physical. They're not. Like they can do there's points and arguments to be made that they can have influence over the world or over physical things, but
right, like I would
we
argue
don't
that
have
maybe they
pictures
could
of
be
demons,
Yeah.
you know.
I would argue
Like-
that maybe they could be more physical, though, because they fell from their heavenly bodies to come and mate with the daughters of man. So, like, would they
Yeah.
not be more physical?
It's definitely it's tough to know, you know, because I haven't seen an angel or a demon. I mean, besides sleep paralysis
That
demon,
you
but I
know
was in a
of.
different realm. Yeah, very true, because it does say what's that saying where it's like be careful who you talk to and how you talk to them, like stranger on the street, because it could be an angel in disguise type deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that
I
is
believe in
definitely
that
a
stuff
thing.
because they appear multiple times in the Bible as just regular humans.
You know, there is something to be said too with fallen angels being, you know, around as
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You know, we get like a lot of these celebrities that I mean, we get pictures, like old pictures, like 100 years ago, like when cameras were first coming out. We get pictures of people and like Keanu Reeves and like a bunch of these other guys that are just, or guys and girls. I'm not going to be sexist about it. Like
Right.
fallen angels could be whatever sex. I don't know.
Right.
They could make themselves look however they want, but they literally like same person, you know. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that. trickery in Hollywood, so I don't really know.
That
I don't know if I subscribe to it,
that
but
like lends credence to the idea of like the vampire, like people believe in vampires, like there's
yeah,
vampiric
yeah,
elite that are not just sucking blood but like siphoning souls and energy,
yeah,
and that's why the world's so negative, is because they're vampires that suck like negative soul energy. And
yeah,
so like that sounds pretty demonic to me. But
yeah, 100%.
like if they're just living forever, running the world, trying to lead everybody against God, it would make sense as to why we are where we are right now.
There's a good freaking movie. Well, I mean, good being just a description of. I mean, it was interesting, but Stanley Kubrick, with Eyes Wide Shut, and they're around a lot of these like really rich elite type people, and they do rituals, like sex magic type rituals where they're trying to. I feel like these elite families could have like bonds with like specific like demons,
Right.
like their house is like, and their bloodlines are like tied to like certain demons, and their whole goal is to like allow that demon to possess them so it can live in the world, and in exchange they get the world, you know
Right.
and then they do these sex magic rituals to try and bring that demon into the world through this baby. Like they offer the baby up and meet like before it's even born, and do all sorts of other rituals for it. But that's depicted in that show. That to me is a very accurate representation of what we could be seeing truly going on,
Right.
in some of those circles.
It's like,
A lot of their traditions might vary, so I don't know if it's all the same,
but it's a common story. This like family attached to a demon sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I read a book. It's called Demonata by Darren Shan, and that's how the first one kind of starts. Is this family? They're like plagued by lycanthropy, so they're werewolves. And at a certain age, you have to play this demon in chess, and if you can beat him, he'll cure the kid that's coming of age into lycanthropy. He'll cure him of his werewolfism. So but most of them lose at chess, and then they're forced to be werewolves, or the whole family gets killed, whatever.
Forced to be werewolves.
Yeah. But no, you hear that thing a lot where it's like the demon manipulates and executes his will through a people. And these people either are just so forsaken, they feel like they have to follow the demon, or they praise and worship the demon and follow him willingly. And
Yeah.
how do you not see that in the real world? You've got all these celebrities that either seem like they're being so controlled and so pressured and so twisted into doing these things that nobody in their right mind would do, or they're willingly touting it like, fuck Jesus, we're gonna praise Satan. And it's crazy how right in your face all this Satan worship is, and nobody's batting an eye. Everybody's just lining up to go to the next concert.
It's gotten kind of convoluted as to what Satanism is. Like the way that everything's been going, and I think it kind of ties back to like the church pedophilia scandals and stuff. Just kind of dismantling public trust, and kind of holding like a center point or a focus point for people, just in general, like society. They've kind of shed the Christian thing because they don't want to be associated, because all the priests are fucking pedophiles, so it's like you can't be associated with that. And it's kind of allowed this anti to creep its way in, and it does it in a very seductive, very hush hush, very under the rug type of way,
because they tell you Satanism is not praising Satan. Satanism isn't worshiping demons and devils. Satanism is just loving yourself and loving one another and being kind. Like there's all these principles of Satanism that when you look at it at a first glance, it's like, yeah, Satanism sounds great. Why would you not be a Satanist? But it's like it's the antithesis to everything good. that self-worship, that thinking you're a god, that thinking you're good enough and everybody's good enough to just be so loved is like we are deserving of love, God's love. We're not deserving of each other's praise and worship. We're all sinners. We deserve to only worship God and be loved by God in return. And like, I don't know, Satanism's dirty. It doesn't matter if you're not
dirty.
directly,
it's pervasive.
like even if you're not directly worshiping the demons and the devils, you're still filling out their will. Like you're still executing their desires.
Yeah, it's super sinister the way that it operates in the world today. It's I kind of think of it in my head like an octopus. I think of the evil in like what's going on in the world, this spiritual battle that's happening between good and evil. The evil, the way that I always visualize it in my mind is like an octopus. You've got the head of the thing, and that's Satan, you know, and then it's got all the arms, and there's more than 8, you know. This octopus has like 1 billion arms, but it gets those arms into all different facets of society, industry, religion, politics, and it can move those arms separately, and those arms can move individually, like apart from one another, but they're all connected back up to that you know, intelligence, into that brain. And I think that that's how evil operates. There's a central core to this evil, to this darkness, to these demons, to, you know, that whole side of it. There's a central core to it, and intelligence and order. And I think that just by, you know, just activating the doors within us, the sin, you know, it allows for that intelligence to work through you. And this leads me to like it leads into that whole discussion of, is it intentional what's going on? Do these elite, do they meet up in rooms and, you know, plot the demise of humanity? Do they plot to be this evil, or is it just because of who they are, you know, that it just lines up that way? And in my mind, it's both, because we know they're doing both. We know it's both, you know. They do meet up. I mean, Bohemian Grove, real thing, happens, and it's all the richest and most powerful politics movers, shakers. We got the WEF. We did an episode on that. Check it out.
That's not out yet. We got to stop plugging the WEF episode. We're not putting it out until we got a part 2 coming. It will be. Look forward to it. We got a part 1.
Why wouldn't you put it out until a part 2? Why?
Because
no,
it's not out yet.
What the heck? It will be before this comes out.
All right.
It will be. Put that thing out, dude. That's a good episode. All
right. Well, then y'all are going to be waiting for part 2 for a minute. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Anticipation will build. Yeah. So you've got these absolute like meetings that people do, especially like psychopathic rich people that benefit off of everything. And it's also the unintentional, because I think that even the little guys, even people that aren't rich and powerful, you know, if you allow for the darkness and for sin to kind of work through you, it organizes. You know, you don't have to organize it. It will organize on itself, and it will express in society in predictable fashions. You know, like gambling being everywhere. I just saw this thing where it's like, dude, every single sports game you watch now, it has a sports gambling plug. You know,
there's that Kalshi bullshit. Everything is going through like now that Kalshi is a thing. Even it's just everywhere. Everybody's betting on everything. That's a sign.
That is a sign of degradation.
Yeah.
Of the society.
It's like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
Like, how bad can we get before God's just got to fucking nuke us all again?
Yeah, before we just get absolutely boomed.
It's the idea of, like, you want to deny God. You want to deny Christ. You want to say, I'm not going to believe. Okay, that's fine. But the problem is, once you are empty of that, what is going to fill that space? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wants to claim they're a good person, but, like, what fills that space? What do you worship? Because there has to be we are inherently beings that worship. We're built to be that way. So if you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping money, you're worshiping celebrities, you're worshiping left or right government, you're worshiping something that
person.
doesn't actually serve humanity. It's not actually good.
Yep.
And you're putting all your attention and energy and veneration into that thing, and it yields nothing positive for the world, for the generations to come.
God is in the Bible. He's described as the giver of life. He is that which gives life. He is the creator. That is
else
what
creates.
he is. Nothing, not another thing ever. God is the only attributing force for life.
And we are made in the image of God because we can procreate with one another and create life.
Yes. But you don't have, without his, without
he
him,
he opens
you ain't
the
procreating.
womb.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
opens and closes the womb.
So it's like, if you're not worshiping that highest ordering, life-giving force, and I mean, dude, what? That's like the best thing to worship. First of all, like, can we just say that? Like, that is literally the best thing to worship.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why would you worship anything else?
Do the Jordan Peterson thing. Don't call it God. Call it the Most High. Direct all of your attention upward. Like, that sort of thing is... It's not good enough, I feel. You have to accept Jesus into your heart, but, like, that sort of thing will put you on a good path.
It'll put you closer to the mark than a lot of this other shit.
There's the idea that, like, what if, this isn't angels and demons, but, like, what if you hadn't heard the story of Jesus? How are these people that never heard of Jesus supposed to get into heaven if they didn't accept Jesus into their heart? I don't actually believe there's anybody on the planet who hasn't heard of Jesus or had the opportunity to learn about Jesus. And if you haven't learned, it's because your parents didn't teach you. And that's like a fault of the bloodline. And I see that as like a duty. As humans, we have to ensure that our belief in God is carried on through the bloodline. So, like, sorry if your kid doesn't get into heaven because he didn't learn about Jesus. That's your fault. And you're probably not going to get into heaven either because you didn't teach your kid about Jesus. These are just kind of beliefs, not wholehearted beliefs. I'm not trying to pass judgment on anybody. People get offended when you talk like this. But, like, there is this idea that, oh, what if you don't know? I think everybody knows. It's the most widely told story in all of time, because God actually walked the earth and nobody could keep the secret. They tried to shut it down, it didn't work. And
there's also the whole idea that he makes himself known to everybody.
Yeah,
so
missionaries,
if you don't know, then he makes himself known through other means.
Yeah.
And you listening to God or going with the Holy Spirit, that's what's gonna lead to your being saved if you're some tribe that didn't get the Bible or had a missionary come by.
But the thing is, missionaries have visited all the tribes, all of them. Like there's a small handful of uncontacted tribes. They all have been contacted. The only one, I'm forgetting the name right off the top of my head. They'd be fun to talk about though at some time. The only one that hasn't been revisited, because the 2 times or 3 times people have gone to visit them, they've been attacked. They're cannibals. They're violent. They're aggressive. They kill people on sight. And they're cannibalistic. Yeah. Like, maybe they could be saved, but dude, what are we talking about here? Like, think of the people that you're talking about. Like, the message is spread the world. Everybody knows.
I think it's mostly people just getting hung up on the idea of that, of someone who just wouldn't know,
Right.
But I think that now, especially modernly, pretty much everybody has got some type of access to it. And yeah, it sucks if you don't have people around you to help guide you or show you or be role models to guiding you to that.
So then it's like, if you're not following that, you are in denial. And if you're going to deny God, then other things are going to take advantage of that.
And he makes himself known in a lot of different ways in your life. Like, even if you don't have the the context. So you're ignorant and living in like a shadow world where that's not immediately present to you, or in culture and in your family line and everything. We are all faced with decisions. We're all faced with do we do this or do we not do this? We all have some sort of divinely inspired right or wrong that
If you
that
choose to
we
follow
just
God's
have built
will,
in. Yeah.
your
So
conscience,
it'll boil down to that.
like your conscience doesn't lie to you. Your conscience will tell you what's right and what's wrong. And when you go
Yeah.
against your conscience, you're making a bad choice. But like this idea of angels and demons, like if there's the thought that like they're let's say fourth dimensional, but like higher dimensional, they're transcending
Yeah.
time and space. So for a higher dimensional being, even if the demons are relegated here in a physical form, what if they can still perceive at that higher dimension, or they already still retain the knowledge from when they could perceive at that higher dimension? They know how shit's gonna play. Like they do know the whole story. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Is they know how it's all gonna play out. That's why they're fighting so hard, is because they want to undo their fate. But like, if they know how everything's gonna play out, then they know exactly how to get you. They know right where exactly what buttons to push, exactly what choices you're gonna try to make or not make, and how to win you over. So like you need God's protection throughout your whole life to keep you, like even somebody who has had, I feel, a strong connection with God my whole life, when I stopped pursuing God as a young adult, I started to accidentally get into some, what I would call some demonic practice, some evil practice, like some shit that I morally would not approve of.
It's influence.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that. I want to get back to this one real quick. A movie called Childhood's End, not the anything.
Childhood's End.
Childhood's End. Sorry. So this movie, it's like aliens come down, make contact with mankind, and they look like devils. And initially, there's a huge hesitancy because they look exactly like devils. And there's the idea that like, oh, aliens built mankind, aliens built the pyramids, aliens literally bred us to mine gold. Like there's all these theories already that exist. I don't know if they're played out in the movie, but like these aliens come and they're like, oh, we're going to help you with technology. We're going to cure all the disease. We're going to stop all the war. We're going to make your society perfect. And people are like, oh, but you look like devils. We don't know if we can trust you. But they do. They end up like essentially giving their whole planet over to these aliens in exchange for them making a perfect planet. And they do. But then once everything's all perfect, they unveil that, yes, they are in fact devils and everybody's fucked. And like that is what is going to happen. Like you're going to see either aliens coming down trying to be our savior and we're going to give ourselves up to them, and then they're going to turn around and be demons. Or literally it's going to be like an Antichrist situation where it's like, oh, somebody is going to fix all the problems. They're going to unite the world into a one world government, no more war, free healthcare for everybody. Everybody's going to be so happy. They're going to start calling him God, but that's not God. It could be AI, We talked about this already. Like, that's not God. Be prepared. Be prepared and aware that like that is the plan. The angels, it's hard to decipher when somebody's speaking to an angel or speaking to a demon, because like these people that go shoot up schools, they're like, oh, well, an angel came and talked to me and told me to kill him in the name of God.
They didn't test it. Yeah, it's testing the spirits. That's literally what we're called to do in the Bible, is you have to test the spirits. If you're ever in communication with spirits, you need to test them.
Yeah.
And the way that you test them is you use the word. You talk about Jesus. You ask them about Jesus. You ask them about Jesus.
People think,
and you bring up like, well, what is your point in all of this? Do you submit to God? Are you of the highest order? And you're telling me to kill everyone at school? I mean, I bet that kid didn't test the fucking
people
spirits,
think that demons can't say Jesus or they'll instantly be expelled, and that's not always the case. People think that well, also demons are subservient to God. It's in the Bible, and they know that. So if you ask them that question, they might just tell you, yes, they are subservient to God, if they think it's going to pull one over on you. And then there's also the idea that like these school shooters are all like MK Ultra projects, essentially. Like these school shooters, there seems to be evidence of, you know, family ties to intelligence or government, or, you know, just at least high levels of medication. And then people talk about, you know, like gang stalking and sort of this sort of interference where you're hearing signal, like there's government patents of how to manipulate people with frequency, with not radiation, electromagnetism. Like there's a lot of ways to influence somebody's thoughts and behavior. So then there's people that tell stories about, oh, well, it feels like somebody's influencing my thoughts and behavior. And then you have people that shoot up schools, and then they tell stories of these angels and demons that were influencing their thoughts and behavior. So like, I don't really take those as angels or demons. It seems like humans fuckery, but like that could be demonic. That could be angelic, you know, that could be a part of God's plan. I don't claim to know. I just like to fucking...
They've muddied the waters to such an extent. It's crazy. But I think that we have discernment. We have God-given discernment, and we know when we're on to something, you know. We can be hijacked. That is definitely true. But if you're with the Holy Spirit, if you've ever felt the Holy Spirit, if you know if you're doing something that's wrong or in, you know, a ruinous thing, or if it's of God and like a life affirming thing. You do know. Everybody knows. Like I don't know. Best example I could give is, you know, like drugs, you know. Drugs. You know that that's wrong. Right. That you're going to do it anyway, but it's wrong, and you know it. You know it is. And if you're getting told to go do drugs, you know, in your brain, then you got it by some spirit. You know that is not going to be an angel. It's not an angel telling you to go do drugs.
Right.
You know? And so you got to know what the sins are. You got to know what how these messengers of God are supposed to come and talk to us anyway, which is supposed to be more prophetic. It's supposed to be more like dreams. It's supposed to be more like Holy Spirit, you know, like kind of like instinct or intuition type of thing. Right. And also through prayer. If you're praying, and you're praying to God, like you got to exercise, you know, prayer, and you get like a voice that's telling you, you know, like, yes, go do that thing, you know, then you can almost be assured that it's an angel. It could be some voice to skull technology freaking beamed into your head, but I mean, you got to test the spirits. You got to test them.
So like personally, I have constantly multiple, not like tons and tons like a schizophrenic, but I do have like back and forth voices in my head, you know. I'll kind of argue with myself and debate about what I want to do or what's the right decision when it's so like arguably like so undeniable, you know. When I can't ignore it, when I'm like, oh, that's the right decision, and I like, even if you don't want to and you do ignore it, it just keeps coming back for days and days and days. Like I ascribe that to God, because those times it does seem so right and so 100% and true and undeniable, and then like when it comes, it's like, oh, that is the truth, that is the right way. Like I do ascribe, and it's not like a booming thunderous voice, you know. It's not like this prophetic thing that I'm like, oh, I'm hearing God, but like I ascribe that to God telling me what I need to do.
100%. 100%. And that's kind of like in people's lives, you know, people that claim that they have never had any type of interaction with God or any interaction with anything spiritual. I think it's just because they're looking too hard and they're looking in the wrong places.
Right.
You know, I think that if you turn it a little bit more inward, you get a little quiet and you just kind of see what comes at you, you know, especially when you're praying or seeking. That's really what it is. You
Right.
know, there's everybody, you know, you see in media depicted the angel on the one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder, and they're whispering in your ear trying to pull you. That is actually like a very good like artistic interpretation of what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we have these small voices and these louder voices, and it's always usually tied to like uh if something's telling you that you're a piece of shit, if something's in your ear making you try to call yourself, you know, like a dumbass, or oh, you idiot, you should have done this. That's not God. That's not God talking to you. God isn't going to beat you down like that, you know? It's like a guilt and shame type thing that kicks up, and that's a demon in its own. You know, there's
Yeah.
a demon of guilt and shame.
If you really address that thought and feeling and tear it apart and figure out where it's coming from, then you find the source, and then God will address that and say, well, yeah, maybe you do need to work on this, and he'll press you on it and say, yeah, do correct that, because that's why you're thinking you're a piece of shit. But you know, like that's where that dichotomy comes in.
Yeah. And that's, I think that is kind of a more like tangible and not so far out there type of way that people can think about these things if they don't have any type of lexicon for it, you know,
Right.
if they don't have any type of framework. That's really where it begins, you know, and then there are definitely magnitudes you can go beyond. There's weirder and wilder, you know, we get into all sorts of different shit with it.
What's really fucking cool is you can think you got a demon after you. You can think you're being possessed. You can think whatever about the demons. You can know that in the Bible it says that there is an angel for every follower of God. Everybody that follows God, at least. And I think maybe even the people that don't follow God have guardian angels. But essentially a guardian, what they call a guardian angel, in the Bible is just called an angel, is essentially assigned to everybody to watch over them. And I think that's what the watchers from Enoch were just the angels that are guarding. The guardian angels are assigned to every single follower of God. So you don't have to wonder if you got God looking after you, if you got an angel watching you, because you can know that you do. If you follow God, you do. And you might have a demon attacking you, but you could utilize that angel that you know has got your back. And like there's
spiritual warfare.
There's a good story in the Bible about you know, they're about to fight this army, and I wish I remembered the names. Somebody is like, oh, how are we ever going to defeat them? There's so many in number. And the other guy prays to God for his eyes to open to see. And God opens his eyes and he sees all the armies of angels outnumbering. Like, they were vastly outnumbered. And now the angels vastly outnumber the people, vastly outnumbering them. And they got like, flaming swords and chariots and... Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't freaking remember either, man. It's upsetting.
Right. Somebody leave it in the comments. That's not too important. It is kind of on topic for today. I wish I had everything I needed pulled up, but
no, it's freaking...
Do you want to move into actually talking about specifically some references and stories of angels and demons?
Yes. I'm gonna start with on my page. I've got it just starts with demons. That was the first thing that I looked into. You know,
I didn't really look into demons at all, but my favorite.
Yeah, that's the one I went into mostly.
My favorite story is the one where these two guys are going to do an exorcism, and they pray in the name of, I think it's John's God, or they pray to Jesus, the God of John, or something. I forget who. And the demon's like, we know John, we know Jesus, but who the fuck are you? Because they didn't believe in Jesus. So the demons literally like stripped him naked, beat their ass, and kicked him out onto the street. And I just thought that was a really funny story about demons, because he's like, yeah, no, I know this guy that believes in Jesus, and I would be afraid of him, but he's not here. And I know Jesus, but guess what? He's not here either, because you don't fucking believe in him. Who are you?
Yeah,
who the fuck are you again?
Exactly. Yeah.
You got no, you only have
his ass.
power over demons if you believe in God and Jesus.
There's only one person who actually...
I say God and Jesus, but God is Jesus.
Yeah, there's only one person that has any authority over demons, and it is not me, it's not you, it's not anybody. There's only one.
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, he's the only one that has dominion over the spirits. He's the only one. And so whenever if you don't have Christ in your heart or even know of him, you really have no hope in fighting demons. You just don't.
And that's what breaks my heart about seeing troubled people, is I'm like, man, I wish you just would accept Jesus.
You just freaking knew. So starting with these demons, yeah, they're mentioned quite a bit in the Bible. And Jesus' ministry included confronting and casting out demons. And Matthew 12:22 through 29, it demonstrates his authority over these evil spirits. And that's exactly what we were just saying. His authority over these things is absolute. And there's another story with the pigs. So
they possessed pigs.
They go to an island, and there's a demon waiting for Jesus on the shore. Looks like a person, but just a strung out person. Goes up to Jesus and is like, "You're the Messiah." He's terrified, and Jesus is getting ready to cast him out. He's like, "Can we just go into these pigs? You know, I pray you, let us just flee into the pigs." And Jesus lets them do it. And they flee into the pigs, and then the whole herd of pigs, it was legion. That was the demon group that fled into the pigs. And then they just ran off a cliff and died. Like crazy. Absolutely crazy. The Gospels describe demons acknowledging Jesus as the Son of God and fearing his power.
Legion is the demon that is in the movie Exorcist, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm also not mistaken, Exorcist was quote-unquote based on a true story. A lot of these exorcism movies were like based on true stories.
Yep. Yes, they were. In the Old Testament, the word demon does not appear directly. Various passages describe evil spirits and spiritual forces associated with demonic activity. In 1 Samuel 16:14 mentions an evil spirit sent by God to afflict Saul. These demons actually do work in tandem. God will send spirits to afflict people too. People that are going directly against him in like a very intentional way.
Yeah.
A lot of these people that have connection with God in the Bible, they'll have connection with him. They'll even be able to talk to him. Or they'll get direct messages from prophets and people that God is actively working with. And they will ignore them or just intentionally go against them. God will send a spirit to mess with them, you know? So it shows also that demons are subservient to God. They're not above anything. They're also little workers too in the grand scheme of things.
He could also be using angels to cause disruption. Like
yes,
there's this text where it actually says that God causes sin, but then the translation opens it up more to be like not specifically sinning, like God's not causing us to sin. God is causing like extreme dismay within the world, like tornadoes and earthquakes and fires and plague and stuff like that.
Yep. The book of Job introduces Satan as a figure who challenges humanity under God's permission. The whole book of Job, that's what the whole thing's about, is that Satan pretty much sees Job as one of God's like most studious, followers. He's and devout, and Satan strikes up a bargain with God to afflict Job and to get him to go against God, because God didn't think that Job would, so that ends up happening too. We can kind of see that kind of dynamic also taking place there. The New Testament refers to demons as unclean spirits and impure spirits, and the powers of this dark world and the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. Ephesians.
So you'll hear me do that a lot. I'm referring to everything as unclean spirits because I don't like to just call everything demons.
Yeah, demons is a more modern, definitely a more modern thing. They're mostly known as unclean, impure type spirits.
It puts that cartoon image in your head of what a demon looks like.
This right here that I'm about to talk about is huge, because this is something that we like to talk about a lot, and it kind of goes into our view of the past and a lot of the like pagan gods. Paul writes that demons are the pagan gods of other nations, and that's 1 Corinthians 10:20 through 21.
Thank you, Paul.
So Paul, I mean,
I appreciate you for clarifying, broski, because that's what we've been trying to tell people.
Yes, that's a huge piece right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, these other gods, like there's these other gods, and how can...
Guess what these other gods never did? They didn't create like God created.
No, not even
They
close.
never made life.
And all the sacrifices...
They certainly had power. They were angels. They had the ability to do great things. And they taught people secrets from heaven. How to harness the world, how to dominate over it, but not in good ways. And that's why all the pagans were wiped out intentionally by God.
Yep. The Bible consistently portrays demons as fallen angels who rebelled with Satan, were cast out of heaven, and now seek to deceive and harm humanity. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the underlying thing here. And there's, something, because biblically, we also Nephilim are mentioned, and they are mentioned as being wiped out with the flood, but it's also mentioned that their spirits don't go anywhere. They have a spirit, but their spirits don't go anywhere.
Right.
They don't go to heaven and they don't go to hell. They stay here. They stay on earth. And that, to me, so it's like we get these ideas of demons that are these fallen angels. And to me, those are like the powerful ones. Those are like the ones with like names. They're like Abaddon or, Azazel or any of these other demons that you hear of. Those are like the fallen angel demons. And they're like boss level demons that have control over a bunch of other demons, and over whole like sections of sin,
right?
That get divvied out onto humanity, and all have like a very pivotal part in the to play in the ruin of humanity. And then you get like these Nephilim that their souls can't go anywhere, so their spirits are here. And human beings, I mean, there are, clairvoyant people. There are prophets. That's what it was called back in the day. They had people that were prophets that would go around speaking, of spiritual matters or speaking of godly things or, whatever. And it was like they're like a tuning fork, like a radio, and people would listen to these people. They were kind of like giving information from this other side and from the spirit. And I just think that these Nephilim spirits could definitely be out there doing the same thing. They're going to be under their daddies, the fallen.
Right.
They're literally their fathers.
Well, so like it says that in Matthew 12:24-28, it talks about how all the demons serve Beelzebub. So like there probably is a ranking structure similar to the angels, where like if it wasn't all just the watcher angels, like the standard guardian angels, if it wasn't just all of them that fell, if there was angels from each tier, then it would make sense that they would maintain their hierarchy in the upside down,
Yep. Yeah, because that's what that's something too that is actually extremely important, I think, for people to understand. There's a thing that a lot of people have been saying more modernly, and that is that the world is backwards. Everything's backwards. Up is down, like society, like things that we should be doing are actually illegal or you can't do. And the things that they're doing are things that nobody wants to have done, and it's like everything's backwards.
Well, Satan and his demons will try to make hell on earth before Jesus can come back and make heaven on earth with his angels.
It's all because Satan wants to be God.
Yeah.
So in the way that he hates God and hates humanity, he is doing everything anti. He's the mirror, Yeah,
so it's like the same. He wants to make everything the same but reverse.
Exactly. And we're seeing evidence of that all throughout the world, all throughout it. Everybody feels it, everybody knows it, and I think that not very long ago there was definitely more of an order in the world where people weren't like everything's backwards and it was not that long ago, guys. It was like literally like a lifetime ago, like 80 years ago. Like things weren't like this. This is a very new thing where evil is kind of footholded in a lot of powerful places on Earth, and is it's like a domino effect. That, I mean, a lot of people feel like we're living in the end times, and there's part of me that does too. And this is going to be, some of the evidence of it. That Satan is going to have his own order, the same as angels have orders, and God has an order with his angels in like a hierarchy. Satan's going to do that too, but he's going to mirror what these angels do. So his demons, instead of ones that are like about compassion and delivering divine messages, one's going to be full of hatred and delivering evil messages. That's how he operates. It's almost not almost, it is. It's petty as fuck, honestly.
Yeah.
Very petty, very unoriginal, Satan, but that's another way that you can kind of see where these things are operating in the world today. Anything that's kind of working against it, against God's order and God's law, that sitting at the top of that, it might just look like a dude is sitting there at the top of it, but behind him, in the unseen, there is that demon, or a whole host of them that are just kind of working through that whole thing, that person in that organization or that country or whatever it is. That's how, I don't know, that's how my brain thinks of it anyway. I could just be schizophrenic.
What else you got?
Demons in the Bible are described very, they have roles to play. Primarily like evil, obviously. They're evil spiritual beings.
But just like the angels all have roles to play. They all have jobs.
Yes. But I think the thing is that God, I think this is like true testimony to God, because even with the free will fall of these angels, he's using their evil for good. Like, he converts it, he transmutes it. He's like infinitely powerful, and you got this whole force of angels that know the deets of the inside, and they try to mirror everything and undo him. They're trying to undo it and to plant the seeds for their own just corrupt kingdom. But the whole time, God is using all of that evil to propagate the good, and to motivate the good and to transmute it. He's like he's the master, very powerful, very cool God.
Sorry, I was just looking up in my Bible because I saw that Mary Magdalene was possessed. So I'm looking up where it talks about that, and it literally is just one line. It says, "Now, when Jesus was risen," so right after Jesus had risen from the grave, "early in the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene." So the first person he showed himself to after he died was Mary Magdalene, "out of whom he had cast 7 devils." And devils is underlined and changed to demons. But that's all. That's it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that a lot of the time in the Bible, the way that these demons are being cast or being described is like a person was blind, or a person had seizures, or a person had, certain illnesses, or afflictions.
Yeah, so that makes me want to get into the viruses thing. What's it called?
Parasites thing. Yeah, that's a theory that I came up with today while doing a little bit of research for this episode.
No, we talked about this a long time ago.
But I came up with like a bridging key factor.
Oh.
Today.
So let's lay out the original theory first for people.
Yeah.
So the idea
you take it on.
I don't know too much about it, but it's viruses, right? I just want to make sure that it's viruses.
Parasites mostly.
No.
Yeah.
I refute that. Look into it. It's virology. So, viruses.
Wait, are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, viruses have never been observed in a living state. Correct? They don't know where viruses come from. They just kind of appear. Like, it's not like you see a virus and then a person, like, it's always the other way around. You see the person sick, you look, and then you see the virus. You never see the virus before the person is sick. You never see the virus in a living state. It's just never occurred. And correct me if I'm wrong. You guys feel free to look into it, but that's my understanding. And so the idea is that viruses, or everything that's happening because of a virus, is a demon affliction. And what we're seeing in the blood is like the only physical trace we're able to come up with that shows the affliction of the demon. But we ascribe it to this is the cause of the thing. Now, essentially, the whole study of virality seems to be a whole bunch of bullshit, according to this theory. That's kind of all I got on it, Tommy.
So there's like a terrain theory, which is kind of what you're going into, which is viruses over terrain theory. That's like an entire episode itself. That will be a good episode.
What is the terrain theory?
That's just that, the viruses aren't really viruses. That there's another modality that's causing it.
Okay.
And then the thing that I was talking about, that I ended up sending you earlier, that prompted me with this whole thing. Yeah. There's like this understanding or this theory, like, look at parasites and then look at them under a microscope. They look like demons, like
same thing with viruses. That's the same concept.
You can't even see the viruses under a microscope, though. You're seeing like
you can. They're just not alive.
It's electron microscopy, freaking shit. But there's all these parasites that are inflicting humanity, and they inflict everything. It's in the fish. It's in the Bible. It also talks about like unclean foods. There was like a huge thing about hygiene back in the day, and it was because of these these parasites, and also, you know, whatever death touches, or there's like other reasons for the hygiene that God goes into and lays out the laws for. But parasites have been known to cause a lot of things. They can show up as tumors. First of all, doctors will get it wrong all the time. And certain cancers that happen, such as intestinal cancers or bladder cancers or liver cancers, a lot of GI tract stuff, it can all be kind of tied back to like parasites. And parasites will make you lethargic. You know, they'll hijack your chemical systems in your body and get you to crave terrible shit.
Right.
You know, they're like a ruinous power, and they're very covert and tricky, and they're like kind of right on par with the same description of demons.
Possession.
Yes, and they possess you, you know? And I kind of thought of it today where I'm like, parasites are pretty small. You can get some that are a little bit bigger, you know? You can get like a tapeworm, obviously. That thing could be like feet long, but it's inside your body, you know, and it's not being observed. And I mean, I think I talked about it in like our intro episodes where I kind of went into the whole like quantum physics thing a little bit. And there's this whole idea in quantum physics that of the observer effect. And it's when something's being observed, the wave function collapses and it becomes solid. And that assumes that when things aren't being observed, they exist in a quantum superposition where they're just kind of everywhere and nowhere all at once.
Schrodinger's
kind
cat.
of crazy. Yeah. And so we've got these parasites that are inside of our bodies, and we don't see them. They're not being observed by us. You know, like they could be being observed on different levels, but I think that humans' observation capabilities are innately unique. Maybe a little bit more powerful and solidifying when it comes to like reality. So like inside your body, these parasites and the strongholds that they build up, you know, they kind of have a darkness shroud that in my thought might allow them to act a little bit differently quantumly. They're not subatomic, but they are small and they're out of sight. And I think that lends them a little extra oomph in the non-local category, where they're able to kind of have more of a etheric or energetic state.
For the layman,
And
think about Ant-Man and how when Ant-Man goes down to the microverse, time's different.
yeah,
Like it's kind of similar. It's like
world's different,
if-
everything operates differently.
yeah, if you're a higher dimensional being and your only impact on our physical plane is that little thing, but it has this greater effect because it exists in a different plane of existence.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's where my theory of it kind of was taking me, is that it's just these parasites are kind of like a physical manifestation, or they work in tandem with demons. And I mean, the effects that they have on reality and on people are the same. And it's not to say that demons are parasites, so we can get rid of demons. They don't exist. It's just parasites. No. They're the same. Like they're one of the same. And like flies, like when you go into like exorcisms or information on demons, like demonology, whenever demons are around, there's like certain things that can happen where like insects will be fucking everywhere and unnaturally. Like it's not natural.
I mean, God
They're
does
fucking
that
everywhere
too.
for no reason.
Swarms
Yes.
of locusts.
Yep. there's like smells that are associated. There's like all these things that happen whenever like a demon is present. So and they do have control over animals, as displayed with that story that I told earlier, where they can hop into pigs,
Can possess
you know,
animals,
and possess
right?
pigs. They can possess animals. They can possess insects. They
Right.
can take control of that shit. So like parasites in the body, and you know what's kind of crazy is like with the Western world, like the United States, it's not like a common practice. It's not even talked about unless it's fringe to do like a parasite cleanse. But in a lot of these third world countries, they do it all the time
Yeah.
regularly because they know that if they
Yeah.
don't, then they're sick and
Yep.
it messes them up. But the United States just so happens to just kind of omit that, hey, fucking, we're not even gonna let you guys know about them. Like, yeah, sure, you can study them, but like, we're not gonna make it any culturally observable practice to like cleanse yourself.
Tommy wanted him and I to do like a parasite cleanse for
Yeah,
a week,
dude.
and I just asked
Yeah.
my wife if she could kind of set us up with a parasite cleanse. So maybe we'll do something like that for the show here soon.
That would be so awesome. The way that I wanted to highlight this, guys, was I wanted to have me and Dave. This was the whole idea. Me and Dave, we were going to do this thing where we were going to cleanse ourselves. Because I've heard I went through a thing where I ate organically and I did like super good like eating, you know, and I detoxed. I wasn't eating any processed sugars. I didn't partake in fast food or any type of processed food at all. And I ate organically and a lot of highly nutritious foods, like living foods. And that's all I did for like a year, and it was the best I've ever felt in my entire fucking life, like hands down. The energy levels were off the fucking charts, and like spiritually I felt way crisper.
Chris.
Like it was crazy, dude. I wish I could articulate exactly what this does for a person. But your diet is kind of everything. You aren't the same person when you're eating shitty as
You
you
aren't you
are
when you're
when
hungry.
you really aren't, dude. Like that saying for Snickers, I mean, dude, that shit is
But it's not just
legit.
hunger. It's the fact that like all the other shit is poison.
Yes,
Straight
and it's
up
actively
poison.
killing your connection to God and your connection to yourself and to other people around you and your relationship with the things in the world. Like your mind is not fucking right when you're poisoning yourself. It's just not, and you're going to make terrible decisions and you're going to be kind of a victim in your own life. And it's just because you're hijacked. You're just fucking hijacked. And it's kind of my belief, fringely, that it's this is how this shit operates. You know, it operates through these poisons and through these parasites and these sicknesses and
I think that's the least fringe belief we have.
yeah, maybe it's quite possible. Yeah, so what we wanted to do, what I was thinking was we kind of document this, where it's like, okay, this is us day one, you know, before we take tomorrow we're taking the cleanse, and
Yeah.
this is how we feel, this is what we expect to happen, this is, you know, how we're kind of going about things right now, nervous, whatever. And then the next day we start the cleanse and we just start documenting it, because at
See,
first it's gonna suck.
I don't know if
It's
we're
gonna
gonna be able
suck.
to do that. I think it's gonna be like
wanted to.
we're gonna tell the audience about it one episode where we're gonna like just tell them what we're doing, and then since we're uploading, you guys pay attention. We're uploading Wednesdays, Fridays, and every other Saturday. So we'll have it on a Friday where we tell them we're gonna start, and then the following Wednesday we'll have like a midweek checkup. And then the next Friday, we'll do an episode about parasite cleanses and our experience with our parasite cleanse.
I mean, we could do something like that, but it wouldn't be hard either and we wouldn't have to do it like, you know, anything crazy. But like at the end of every day, we just kind of have
Make
like
a little clip.
Yes, where me and you
That
just
would be
hop
good.
in the room together. I talk about my experience for the day, and they make it quick. We cap it out at like 5 fucking minutes.
That would be good.
You know, and then you do your thing, and we just run through the checklist, and then
I thought you meant like,
you know,
guys, this is how we're doing today, and I wasn't about that. Pulling out the phone.
no.
Doing little selfie
We
videos.
could either do it that way or whatever, you know, just however we have to, just to document it, you know, and like, because when you're in the thick of it, it's different, you know. When you're in the thick of it, you're gonna say and feel
Into
different
the thick
ways,
of it.
and like, kind of conveying that to people in a raw way, I think, is the most powerful. And I don't know, because I've experienced it where I've actually detoxed the fuck out of myself, and like, no bullshit, it sucks.
Craziest
It sucks
story
at
I
first.
ever heard about a detox, and I would love to have him on, was from your uncle. Well, about your uncle having him shit that big black tube. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
So
Calcified freaking shit. It's like all of us, especially once you start getting a little bit older, if you don't like cleanse yourself out, you know, like we have like compacted and like petrified fucking shit that's just stuck in our intestines. We're carrying around like excess fecal matter inside of our GI tract, like everyone, unless you like go through an actual like routine to like get rid of it. Like by the time you're 30, you've got like fucking 30 pounds of just shit that you will never shit out. You're not shitting it out. Like your normal bowel movements, they just happen, you know? But like there's still shit in there from like fucking 10 years ago. That's just like poisoning the fuck out of you, and like it's also a breeding ground for these parasites.
yeah,
Like they know that they take root in places where they're not going to be eliminated, and where they can breed and, you know, just kind of be safe.
yeah.
And in your GI tract, that shit is literally a castle for them. So we all have these castles where these things can have dominion in us and operate their ruinous bullshit from. When you start killing off these parasites, they host a shit ton of toxins in them. It's not like, you know, eating like an ant. Like, an ant, it has nutritional value, you know, so you can eat an ant and it's fine. If a parasite dies in you and your body absorbs it, the parasites hold on to all sorts of toxic shit. So when it dies, your body's got to deal with that.
Yeah.
And it's not very fucking nice. It sucks. Like, it sucks. You'll get like weird symptoms. You'll get like feeling like you're gonna fucking have a panic attack, or like you're gonna die, or like you'll have feelings like it'll pull like even emotional triggers from like past trauma. It'll get stored up inside of you, and like you go on a detox, and it'll just bring up thoughts you haven't thought of in like fucking 12 years. And you're like, where the fuck did that just come from? And it's part of the process. And the more you go through it, the better you handle those symptoms, and the better your body gets at actually just dealing with it. Like, we're bogged down because of the toxins. Our organs aren't working right. They're not working right at all. So when you get them fine-tuned and running like a fucking V8 fucking, you know, badass fucking car, you just start burning through that shit, and it doesn't bother you as much. And then you're able to kind of go back into like true healing and true like normal states of being that I don't think many adults have felt in like since their childhood. And it's kind of sad. It's totally sad, actually. What's even sadder is being a guy that did that and then going backwards,
Feeling the difference.
and feeling the difference. So I know what it's like to be next to the sun, Icarus style.
Right.
But I forsook it, and now I'm eating shitty food again.
Yeah,
And
my wife
fucking-
expresses that all the time because she was fully raw vegan for like 3 months, and she talks. Well, no, she was probably longer than that, but she expresses.
Yeah.
She talks about those times like it was the best time of her life.
It was. It just was. Like,
It just was.
It's a different... Yeah. Actually, like, it's crazy, dude. It's actually nuts. And then knowing that, and then, like, actively going backwards, and then once you're backwards, you're stuck, because those fuckers are rooted in you, and they just fucking keep producing the loop, the chemical loop that gets you, like, craving the fuck out of sugar, or craving the fuck out of wheat, or
Totally off
any of these other shits.
Sorry to
No,
cut you off.
I'm already
I
off
know
topic.
I'm cutting you off because you're off topic, but still off topic. Wegmans uses biometric data like face scanning video, and they don't disclose the information publicly within their stores. People are getting pissed because it's only available online where they disclose it. And nobody knew about it.
That's like a
They've been
recent
doing
thing, right?
They've been doing it for a while. It's only recent that people are getting pissed and noticing. So who else is doing that? People, be aware that we are getting to this technological age where, they're just going to make your digital ID for you. It doesn't even matter. They're going to scan your face and monitor your shopping and link it to your fucking accounts, and they're just going to make a digital ID for you. It don't matter. Or force us into it. Anyway,
it's steamrolling.
What else you got on demons? Speaking of digital ID, what else are these demons up
they're
to?
Fuckers.
They are some fuckers.
I mean, if we just kind of, we could probably get over the demons thing here very shortly, because
we could switch over to aliens.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, we could.
So before they fell, they were alien. I said this earlier, like aliens, angels. No, the aliens are the demons, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's rebranding is what I've said it as. It's just a rebranding effort, you know.
Yeah, like people that have these alien encounters, it sounds like demonic possession. It sounds like or like CIA shit, honestly.
It could be very well be both, you know. That's kind of where I've fallen into with reality anymore. It's like you can't really be like it's one or the other except for certain things, you know. Like causally, when it comes to like, we know they're doing MK Ultra and crazy fucking
they didn't stop.
Experiments.
You don't just stop doing that sort of thing.
No.
It just turns into other things,
and start up another black program that nobody knows about, because once something goes public, you can't keep it going when it's doing terrible shit. So you have to kill that program.
How much have we learned? The government has all this shit they're just throwing money at. They don't even know what it is.
Yeah, we've
learned
many
that so much recently.
Oh, bro.
There could be
Absolutely
another
insane.
MK Ultra program easily.
Oh yeah, like without a shadow of a doubt. Like they've got so much shit going on, we have no idea.
Oh, perfect. This is beautiful.
The aliens is a new thing.
No, not aliens, angels. No, I'm just kidding. I broke you.
You broke me.
The aliens are a new thing, you said.
Because I thought you were trying to say that even angels are, you know, aliens or
No, I was
something.
making a joke because I was calling angels aliens. So I was just joking, correcting you when you said aliens.
Well, my record got firmly slapped off the disc.
Do you remember what you were saying?
Yeah. This rebrand that happened, it happened with a renowned, like, evil motherfucker, Aleister Crowley, and I will be doing an episode, so help me Lord, I will do an episode exposing all that shit.
Oh yeah, we should do
that guy
soon.
is evil, like pure evil. He's the one that says, do as thou wilt. But anyway, he did rituals. Like, he was doing all these rituals to summon his guardian angel and to summon, like, Enochian. Him and, what's the other guy, dude? Parsons?
Yeah, Jack Parsons.
Jack Parsons? They came up with a whole language for the angels, Enochian, which is in Supernatural, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, Supernatural is evil, in my opinion. Straight up.
It's got some definite bad messaging going on.
It gets you to empathize with the Antichrist. That's the ultimate message at the end, is that, like, Jack's a good guy, man. Even though he's the Antichrist, let's empathize with Jack. Yeah. No, he's the fucking Antichrist. Fuck Jack.
Literally. In their universe,
and they have no Christ. They have no Jesus.
Yeah, I know. They don't even talk about him.
Like, at the end,
they don't even talk
Jesus
about him.
should just come back and wipe all their asses out, and that would be a good. Like, fuck you, Winchesters. You never thought about me once.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Frickin'
lock all their asses up.
We've got this whole introduction of aliens, like, around the Roswell times. And it all came after a ritual ceremony that this Aleister Crowley, the Beast, is what he was known as by even his own mother. He did a ritual in the Great Pyramid of Giza and got into contact with this being called Lamb. And he looks like a gray alien, just like a person, more or less. And I think that, the intelligence agencies that he was working for, because he was like a triple, quadruple agent working for many different intelligence agencies, I think that they just kind of ran with that picture and tried to tune it up, make it look a little scarier, a little bit more foreign, so that it didn't look like a demon or like some crazy interpretation of a person. So after that moment, we get this whole alien push, and it was after a ritual, mind you. So this ritual gets this alien thing to happen, and then it perpetrates the whole, like, pop culture and conscious awareness through a very intentional push by the media and subculture and like military effort, so we've taken this thing, demons, and these unclean spirits, and this understanding that has been around for humanity for thousands of years. We take this thing that everybody has agreed on is the thing, and we convolute it with this aliens narrative, which was drummed up by, I'll say it again, a satanic ritual, magic.
I think the
operation
idea of
in the Great Pyramid
existed before just that, but
it was always a demon thing. Always, they would see the things in the skies, and like, sure, they might have, like, thoughts about things like what could it be if they didn't know about demons. But anybody who knew anything, they would be like, yeah, it's demons. And like, there's the Russian Orthodoxy. They have a book that I wouldn't mind. First, I have to get the name of it, because all I know is the information that I freaking heard from some video. But the Russian Orthodoxy, like their church over there, and they have a book, and in the book, there's a guy talking about how, like, the demons are in the sky, like they fly around in the sky, and it showed, like, metallic type looking things, or like the wheels moving around, or like even like ghostly apparition like type figures, and like they're like smoky figures. They're illusions. It's like illusion magic, just as a being. They can do whatever they want. They can look however they want.
right.
And like you were saying, they're like a different, like, dimensional being, like fourth dimension. Time doesn't operate the same. So like this plan that they're pushing for with the aliens thing, they knew about that 2,000 years ago, that's the direction that they were going to go. So they plant little seeds along the way, and it helps to support this modern narrative that's being drummed up, which is an effort by the Dark Ones to usher in end times and to start the war.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's where I'm at with all of that. Like,
I can see it. I see what you're saying.
Aliens. I just did what you did. Aliens
the other way
are
around.
demons rebranded.
Yeah.
And all of the effects that we get are all tieable to spiritual afflictions,
Yeah, that's the
that
problem.
are
Is it's all been rebranded as like science fiction or science, and like it can also, let's rebrand it back to like some spiritual affliction, and try spiritual healing too, along with our
Yes.
along with, not instead of, because the medical
Yeah.
healing is effective and founded. I'm not anti-medicine, but spiritual healing is effective and founded as well. And we just act like it's bullshit. Like all of history that's been doing these things, it's all just bullshit, and it's not. Like it was done for all of history.
Miraculous healings.
These things are
Like,
real. And
so
we're
real.
not talking Reiki. Stay away from that shit. Anyway, we got to get on topic. Angels. Oh,
Yep.
I'm losing everything. I don't know what happened. All
No,
right.
don't lose it.
So, the angel, quote unquote angel, the guardian angel. The idea is that these are also the watchers from Enoch. These are the most plentiful, it seems. These would be the most numerous. These have the cliche depiction of what we think of when we think of angel, which is like, usually they're never women. Like we do see a lot of women angels, but my understanding is the angels are all men. Like that's why they wanted to come down and breed with the daughters of man, is because they were all men. But this one looks like a woman here. I don't know. That could be a very fair looking man, but you always see like an adult person, the wings, halo sometimes. You know, angel. We all know what angels look like.
Yep.
Then you have, I'm gonna save archangels. You have the principalities next, which would be, they're the guardians of nations and cities. They're mentioned in Daniel and Ephesians, and you know they're kind of just like
Territorial.
behind the scenes leaders of nations. So like, you know, God has essentially his nations. These would be the doers of his bidding. And then what we always think of, at least with the name archangel, sounds to me like is the highest angel. It's actually only like the highest angel of this lower choir.
Yeah.
So actually, before I continue, well, we'll talk about archangels, then we'll talk about the choirs. So archangels are the angels you guys might know about, which would be Gabriel and
Michael.
Michael, thank you. It's a common misconception that Satan was an archangel. Satan was not an archangel. At least he wasn't described as an archangel. So,
I think he was a seraph.
Yep. He would have been a seraphim. Or a cherubim, but that's less likely. And then archangel is like least likely, but it's one of those three, it seems. So
in Supernatural, he's described as an archangel.
Yeah. So these three tiers, these 9 groups of angels, at least those 3 that we just talked about, make up the bottom tier. This system was just made by the church. This wasn't really described in the Bible. This was made up of hundreds of years of the church studying scripture and trying to come up with this specific, like they're attempting to quantify it because the Bible doesn't, and they just want something to look at to help understand, you know. So that's where these choirs of angels come in. We don't actually know for sure if anybody's above anybody or if this is their exact powers or duties. It's just, this is what it all seems like from the Bible. So
these may or may not be different angels you could come into contact if you got beamed into heaven randomly.
Right. Yeah. So the next 3 make up the second tier of the choirs of angels. It's the dominions, the virtues, and the powers. So the dominions oversee the lower angels. So maybe even these 2 in their own choir, but the dominions seem to rule over these angels. Administrators of God's will, if you will, rarely interact with mankind. The virtues are associated with miracles, so they would interact with people more often, particularly the saints. And then the
People close to God.
right, and then the powers are like warrior angels. That's why you see him with the flaming sword, literally fighting demons, that sort of thing.
So the powers would be like, so whenever we're doing spiritual battle, like personally in our own personal lives, or is there even a kind of precedent for like like a whole group of people doing spiritual battle? You know what I mean? Like, could a whole nation
So,
go through like a
I
underturning?
I would imagine that like the principalities would be in charge of that sort of thing. Whereas like when you were talking about before, like they can see in fourth dimensional time and space, and you can tell this character is possibly going to do something that's going to fuck up the whole game. Let me intervene.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the guy that intervenes. He's
Okay.
keeping cosmic balance.
He's the maintenance crew for reality.
Maintenance with that flaming sword, broski. He's the fucking first line.
That's
He's like the
his
ultimate
French.
last line of defense. It's like, when shit's about to go wrong on an ultimate level, he's gonna step in and make sure it doesn't. It seems.
And cut that
Or,
bastard
like,
down.
keep it all straight. That's kind of what archangels are more just like seemingly.
Yeah, there's a misconception with archangels.
Well-
We all think that archangels are like way higher up.
Yeah, we'll get back into archangels once we're done covering these, because they're talked about pretty specifically. These three, not so much. Not a lot.
Yeah, they are definitely very. I've never heard of them before, really, today. Like, I have heard very loosely of them, but
Yeah.
like to no degree where they were an actual, like, or could be an actual order and like what they do, and like that they're higher, like their like density, if you
Right.
will.
So like these angels were getting we're getting descriptions because Enoch and the Bible talks about everybody having angels watching. Like that's where we get this idea of an angel. The archangels come from a lot of Jesus's revelations, and also, spoiler, I was going to talk about this later, but Gabriel, the messenger, quote unquote messenger angel, delivered that John the Baptist was going to be born, and then later that Jesus was going to be born. So like it's not just fighting demons and kicking Satan's ass, because they're in Revelations it's told that Michael is gonna slay. Like you see that painting of the archangel fighting the dragon. That's Michael fighting the Satan, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
And so like they're warriors, messengers. They do the bidding of God, Whereas
they're like God soldiers.
Whereas
man.
like these
They
guys
just do
have
it.
like seemingly more of like a fourth dimensional time and space balance keeping sort of purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas these ones are interacting with mankind, and then so like they didn't really get much description.
It's kind of hard to describe
But
them
then-
from our realm.
But then the seraphim, the cherubim, and the thrones are described by Ezekiel, Isaiah,
Yep.
and a couple other times, quite a bit in Enoch, because they are at the throne of God. So a couple times they've been seen and described and named. So that's where we get those. But so the thrones, I remembered what it was. It's the Ophanim. So the Ophanim or the thrones are what people are talking about when they say biblically accurate angel, because that's like a meme that's going around now. Biblically accurate this and that. The biblically accurate angel is usually the Ophanim, the circle of eyes. It's circles within circles of eyes. That's how it's described.
Flaming wheels.
The cherubim are not like little baby angels like media would have you believe. They're not like, what was it in Supernatural? They were like
Cupid.
Oh yeah, they're like cupids. No, the cherubim are like multi-headed. They have a head of a lion, a head of a bull, a head of an eagle, and a head of a man. They have 6 wings, just like
Yeah.
the seraphim.
Yep.
And then they're seated at the throne of God, singing or yelling, "Holy, holy, holy," praising God all the time, day and night, forever. They're just standing there praising him. And then the seraphim are also... Wait, I might be confusing them. Yeah,
The cherubim are guardians.
Yeah, sorry. Swap that. Seraphim are the ones saying, "Holy, holy, holy," at the throne. The cherubim have been described as God riding cherubim. That is in the Bible. But they are guardians of sacred places. They were put at the Garden of Eden in Genesis.
Yep. And
also at the seat of God. So, apparently they have divine knowledge and protection. Yeah, they're not baby angels. It's in my notes.
No. Not baby angels.
So we have... I want to talk about these guys first because they're the coolest ones. They're the ones I got all the pictures of. So, you have Ezekiel's dream or Ezekiel's vision.
Yep.
Oh, that's too zoomed in. This is a famous painting done by Raphael. So this is like the Renaissance painting of Ezekiel's vision, and I hate it. It's such a bad depiction of what was described. Because here you have the little baby cherubim angels. You have an actual... So it does say living creatures. And the living creatures are believed to be cherubim because the way cherubim are described is to have the four heads of living creatures. So they're associated together. But it does... Like Ezekiel sees the thrones, he sees the living creatures, and then God's throne on top of that. So where is God's throne? He's just sitting on the angels. And why are these angels babies when cherubim were described completely differently? And where are the thrones? Where are the eyes within eyes? This is a dumb Renaissance painting. All the Renaissance stuff is bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. They don't.
This is a much better depiction, I thought. You get the wheels with eyes within eyes. You get the seraphim singing "Holy, holy, holy," and then God's throne is like a light that you can't even perceive up here. And it does say sapphire throne, so like this is the sapphire, but then like God's up here. And then this is, I don't know where this comes from, but this is like the most common depiction of the seraphim, where it's two, because it's described as two wings covering the head, two wings covering the feet, and then two wings to fly. And so why is his face sticking out if it's two wings to cover the head? I wouldn't imagine his face is sticking out. There's the thought that like their power, their beauty, their glory, whatever it is so powerful that they just need to be covering themselves all the time. But the way that Ezekiel describes it is one set of wings is covering his feet and one set of wings is covering his head. Not that he's completely covered head to toe because he's so magnificent, you know? So I liked... I do have it. Can I... I didn't set it up to share, though. Damn it. I had found another picture that I liked more, that it was actually like some kid's drawing where it was just covering the head and just the feet. That was pretty dope. But yeah, that's not readily available. Sorry, guys. And then this is the ophonym. Did I zoom out? No, I can't zoom out. But this is a good description of the ophonym. Oh yeah, sorry to all you audio listeners. Fucking figure out how to watch video on Spotify or go over to our YouTube. Check us out because we're looking at stuff right now.
Yeah. Just wheels with eyes and like that classic like gyroscope thing. If you want me to, you don't need me to describe this. Everybody knows what this looks like.
And then this is the best picture I could find of a biblically accurate, and this is like AI bullshit, but nobody is portraying it the way the Bible describes. You got the four heads, the six wings.
They're all faces though. That's the thing. So it's
Yeah.
4 faces. It's a one head with 4 faces.
Right. Yeah, there was no good
So
images.
yeah, it's not a
But
hydra.
yeah. Like, even all of these aren't great. This wasn't too bad, though. Like, it never
No,
said...
those are decent. I like the way that they're depicted in this little
Yeah.
diagram here of all the angels.
Right.
Because it gives you a clear kind of description. It really does.
Yep.
And I think that's really all we need. We don't need to know exactly what they look like because we're not seeing them, you know? Maybe one day, but then maybe we'll have the eyes to do it. But our human eyes, they can't see that shit. We can't perceive it without fucking blowing up.
Right.
Like, you can't. So
So-
I mean, all we really need is just some good symbolic representation of what they are.
So there's also the angel of the Lord, which is not in here. It doesn't fall into any of these. The angel of the Lord behaves and acts and does things that none of these other angels do. Commonly believed to just be God himself or Jesus pre-incarnate, which would be the same thing. I don't know why people argue about that. Like, there needs to be some sort of distinction, who's right and who's wrong. It's God. Like, the angel of the Lord seems to be the Lord enacting his will directly without blowing your fucking head off with his presence. Like, that seems to be easy enough to understand. If you need to get more specific.
What if it's like an avatar, you know, like, which Jesus is an avatar, you know, for God. But, well, not really, because an avatar is an avatar. Like, Jesus is God.
Yeah,
like, so
Jesus,
it's not.
Jesus is
but, like,
God.
what if the angel of the Lord is, like, an angelic avatar? Where it's, like, just some, like, blank fucking slate, like, just thing. And then whenever the Lord wants to go and talk to people, like, personally, like, in person,
Right.
he just sends a little piece of himself into this suit and just freaking pilots up the angel of the Lord and goes and does his thing.
Whatever it needs to be, I don't know. But for some reason, there
crazy
is
thought.
a clear distinction between the angel of the Lord and the rest of these angels. And the angel of the Lord stops appearing after Jesus appears. Coincidental?
I'm wondering, I don't know if because I'm the way that, like, my my other side of my brain, the not so schizo part, is thinking more like, because during the time of the Old Testament, there was a lot of the old god shit going on. You know, like a lot of, like, the pagan gods and just crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe they had their own forms of angels, because angel, actually, if you go back to the Hebrew and into the Greek, it was just messenger, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it was saying.
That's what it translates to, yeah. But it's like,
So,
the idea of messenger is more than just conveying or delivering a message, but actually, like, executing the will of the master, you know? Like,
yeah.
I'm not just here to hand you a letter. I'm here to make sure the will of the one true king is done.
Maybe it was more or less because of, literally. Maybe it was more or less for, like, people of the time, like the angel of the Lord, like, because the Lord's uppercase, you know, so it's like...
Like, they all could be angels of the Lord, you know? It could just be
like,
a different terminology.
Yeah, I don't know. It could just theoretically just be the fact that they wanted to annotate that, like, this angel that came, he was of the Lord, like the Lord.
The reason there's a distinction is because, like, he straight up absolves sin. None of these other angels absolve sin. He calls himself God. None of these other angels call himself God. So...
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, I don't know. That is a mystery.
Yeah, that's a fun one, but yeah, we'll continue. So there's, like, there's the Book of Tobit, which I'm not familiar with, but Raphael is another archangel that is mentioned in the Book of Tobit. So you got Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, the warrior, the messenger, and the healer. But then you have the Book of Enoch goes into So Enoch goes to heaven. It mentions this in Genesis that Enoch is taken by God. So Enoch is one of the few people canonically taken to heaven while he's still alive. And so the book of Enoch is not written by Enoch. The book of Enoch seems to be written way later. And who the fuck knows where they get, like, it's apparently prophesied, you know, like we're meant to believe it because and it does make a lot of it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's meant to.
It's a mixture of like what you were saying with the prophecy, prophetic type things, and verbal tradition,
right?
An oral tradition,
right?
Where it was just what they, you know, the origin story, their mythos, the things that they were telling, you know, is part of the story.
Yeah. So
I don't know. It's
some people consider it canon, some people don't. But
yeah,
we hear about what Enoch sees and what happens, and Enoch apparently turns into an angel, which I don't believe in people turning into angels. I don't think that happens. That's just said in the Bible that doesn't happen. Maybe Enoch was a special case because he went while he was alive. Some other reason Enoch was a special case, I don't know. But
he was perfect in his generation too. Like there was some super special thing with Enoch, you know.
Yeah,
his blood.
There's got to be a reason he was taken. So there's probably a reason he was turned into an angel. But if we're to believe that, then that is where Metatron comes in. Because I'm getting through all this research and I'm like, well, where the fuck does Metatron even pop up? So Metatron is outside of the Bible, non-canonical, and
he's God's scribe.
That's what Enoch turns. Yeah, Enoch turns into Metatron. I don't believe. Yeah, heavenly scribe.
It could just be some freaking crazy rabbinic Jew freaking Kabbalah freaking shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, very much.
It could be.
So
it could be.
Also referred to as Lesser Yahweh, which, again, I'm not behind that.
Yeah.
And there was...
I don't know. That's kind of wild that anybody would ever attribute a names like that to anything.
Yeah.
To anything.
Yeah,
that's so blasphemous. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's heretical.
Whoever's saying that, they've got the wires crossed, I think.
All right.
Which really leans into the rabbinic, Kabbalistic freaking Jews.
I was just going over my notes real quick. That's it. That's all I got. I didn't do enough research, I suppose. So, I do have a story of, like, an anecdotal type of angel story. My grandmother apparently saw her guardian angel, but it was like a sleep paralysis type thing. Sleep paralysis sort of thing where she woke up and the angel was above her in bed. And now I was so young when I was told the story that I don't remember it.
Oh, no.
Somebody was in trouble, and, you know, she ended up doing something about it because the angel told her. But, man, poor recollection for the podcast. Sorry, guys.
No, but listen, no, that's like, that's a common thing, man. You know, that happens. Like people having these like messages delivered to them that are so like important, or they're just messages, you know, like someone died, you know, someone died and they get a message from an angel telling them that someone died, you know, and then they freaking come to find out, person died, or someone needs help. Like that happens too. I mean, the angels still work today, you know, and that's pretty awesome to think of, you know.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes in, I don't know. You got people that want to experience this type of stuff. I remember, you know, growing up, being young and stuff. It's like you hear all this all this stuff, and there's a part of you that's like, oh well, it's impossible, and it would be cool to see, like
Yeah.
it's just so impossible. Like I want to be able to see it. And you get that other side of the coin too, where it's like, all these adults, all these people, they're talking about these things, and they say it's real, so it's
So you
got to
just
be
fake
real,
it.
Yeah, or it's just like I don't think that we're supposed to be looking for it like that.
No.
That looking for it in that type of way is where I think the deceivers can kind of come in and just start twerking on your ass.
Yeah.
So it's like the grandmothers, these like really good women, like the best women, that are like angels. Everybody calls them the angels, like my
The trad
angel
wife.
granny, like the best women. They're always the ones that end up getting it nowadays, which makes me kind of wonder with like men, like what the hell, guys, we're fucking up in some way because we were the ones that the angels were talking to before. Like men might
So
have be falling away from God in a more
in the
traditional sense, but
I actually believe this. It's like a Jewish belief, is my understanding, that the women have less of a responsibility to the Lord because they are having to raise children, which again, I'm not totally familiar with the topic because I'm not Jewish. But I can kind of get behind that because it is a lot to have to raise a child. So if you are actually doing that thing where you're being a good mom and a good wife, and you could be working a job, I'm not saying you don't have to be a stay-at-home mom, but as long as you're doing that well and you instill the Lord in your child, then you're good. Don't worry about all the other shit. That's all you
yeah.
got to worry about. Whereas as a man, you have a lot more to worry about, I think. It's not just instilling the Lord in your child, but you probably should be out there saving people. You're a man.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
make a community and save a whole community of people. Or make your family a fucking army and have them wage the wars that God wants you to. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah.
I don't know the topic here with these. It's basically like we're kind of outlining the spiritual side of this like war. This dichotomy we've got going on between good and evil, and I think what we kind of outlined here tonight was this whole the inversion. We've got the angels, the messengers of God. We've got God's kingdom. He's the creator, the life-bearing force of all. Nothing exists without him and can't really be separated from him. He's everything and
Yeah.
nothing and all of it all at once. But then we get the enemy, and they're like a perfect inversion. They've done that for themselves. Like that's a very intentional thing that they've
also
done.
been around for pretty much all the time. They know
Yes.
the whole story. They have tons of power.
Yes. And we can see the fruits, we see the fruits of these systems. Anything that's running off of God's system, it bears the best fruit. And you can have fruit that gets dropped from a tree of evil that, it might look good and it might taste good for a second, but it's going to inevitably poison the shit out of it.
It's going to have a thorn. It's going to have a fucking something.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt your tummy.
And you can see that in the world today, we are witnessing these poison apples. Everybody's biting into them, and everybody's getting poisoned. And we're seeing it in society that this poison is just everywhere. And people are looking at these apples, and they're thinking, yeah, these are just my apples. I just get these every week, and I'm just eating them, and it's fine. It's fine. The experts tell me these apples are good. All right, so shut up, lay off me.
We're going to confuse people talking about like actually poisoning the food in the beginning of the episode, and now you're using it as a metaphor for like evil in the end of the episode.
It's a good fucking analogy though, like cuz
it speaks to the holographic nature of the universe that those sort of things persist.
and yeah, of the universe and of the situation.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think that where we find those little like synchronicities, if you will, that's where you're catching on. You're hovering over the target. You know,
That's when you start
that's where
noticing
you're
patterns of becoming a real schizo.
Yes, join us.
Yeah, that's
join
when
us.
you need to like and follow and subscribe.
Yes, and keep getting your dose of your medicine, because you will notice these patterns more and more and more until inevitably you come to God. That's it. I mean, it kind of would blow my mind if you're listening to us at any type of regularity and you don't believe in God, because we talk about God a lot.
Oh yeah, people would have turned away already at this point.
I really hope they don't.
I want to
hope that
convert
they
some
find
people.
something else.
You know, you listen to us, you're a non-believer. That's fucking dope. Keep listening.
Yeah.
We love to have you.
And you will be one of us. Yeah. One of us. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. The topic at hand was it's wide, and it's also very shifty. You know, we get very specific and narrow biblical reference for these entities, these beings, these factions.
Yeah, a lot's been extrapolated on by mankind.
Yes.
So it's hard to look back through the history and get, like, you don't know. It's all stories of people seeing, and you know, we're all just taking people's word at the fucking matter. And
100%.
But like,
so you kind of want to take it with a little bit of salt and a little bit of scripture. You know,
resonates.
Just keep yourself humble.
It certainly resonates.
You know what would be extremely interesting is if we could ever get our hands on some of the tomes that are underneath that Vatican, man. Oh my. Yeah. Oh my.
Fuck, breaking
some of the
into
stories
Area
I
51.
bet they have. Literally. Who wants to do that? Yeah. Let's go raid the catacombs.
Shepherd's Pie does not endorse storming the Vatican.
Not at all. Not unless someone wants to just freaking get absolutely offed, because that's what would end up happening. I wonder if, like, we ever did organize enough to where we could, like, storm the Vatican and take all the shit out. If they have, like, a failsafe, like they have, like, TNT in the walls down there, and they're just like, you'll never take our knowledge. Just freaking burn it all.
Yeah, because then it's just a natural disaster. It's not somebody broke in. Like, it's just an accident happened.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah. I had totally forgot to mention this. I did want to make a point to say, to the point that people cannot become angels, probably don't pray to any of the saints. That doesn't make sense. And angels also are subservient to God, and it says in the Bible, do not worship them. We will judge the angels, which is crazy. I didn't know that, but there's a verse in the Bible that says in the end times we will judge the angels. It's only one line, and it's a person saying it, not anything that, like, God told the person. So I don't know about that.
I don't know
one
either.
But
I'm gonna have to read it.
Yeah, but certainly I don't think we should be praying to angels. I don't think we should be praying to saints. I meant to work that in somewhere a little bit more smoothly, but I'm just gonna.
It's so weird because Christ does establish a church. The church is Christ. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so there's like a weird thing with it, that there's a part of me that really wants to kind of look into it a lot more, like the church fathers, and which are all the apostles and the very early foundings of the actual Christian.
They were all converted
church.
Jews. So it's like, how well was the vetting process to say, like, oh, we're all converted, we believe in Jesus, because one of Jesus's apostles turned on him. So, like, did everybody that went to the Christian church and started making all the new doctrine and all the new law and taking all over the new countries and establishing the new church and telling everybody how to live as the whole world became Christian, do you think those people didn't have a few bad influencers?
Maybe, but I do believe in the power of Christ.
Oh yeah,
what
for sure.
While he was here,
I don't have faith in the established church. That's the thing.
do to a degree. I don't think that it's supposed to be taken as a absolute, but I do believe that it does have authority, and it's done a lot for the world. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
like, it has spread the word to every corner. It has made
Yeah.
many believers and helped keep the clutches
Yeah.
of darkness at bay for a long time. But
It
I also do
definitely
believe that there are
deserves
flaws with it.
respect, acknowledgement
Yeah.
as to
Yeah.
what it is. It is God's house. I don't deny that. It's just I'm not lining some pastor's pocket. I'm not believing the tainted message of a mega church. I definitely get behind like the community of the church. You find a small
Yes.
local church that my sister got me onto black churches. Go find yourself a black church. They're fucking awesome. Like a small local church that has a good message and they're not corrupt and they're not just in it for your money. They're in it for the message. Like that is great. It's just
Yep.
the whole like I don't buy the Catholic Church structure, the Vatican,
Yeah.
Rome. That whole shit is wicked sketchy. We'll talk about some of that in the future.
Yeah, that's what I want to do too. Is I want to do my due diligence with like the structure of the church.
Yeah.
And kind
So
of
that's why
dive into it.
I
a
don't
little
put the
bit
faith
more.
in the church. I'm not putting faith in angels. I'm putting my faith in God. I'm praying to
Yes.
God. That's it. Bottom
That's what it's
line.
all about. Definitely, 100%. I just think I want to do the due diligence with it because I heard something about I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe it was like Jay Dyer.
Shout out
It
Jay
was like
Dyer.
a podcast episode, and he was talking about the church fathers and how they were like the closest to Jesus, like people, and then not only that, but they were like the saints, and so people who had like verified like miracle type shit happen,
Right.
and all sorts of other stuff, and they were the ones writing a lot of the early texts and helping to translate and all that other stuff. So I think that there's like there's definitely something to do with like you can have respect for things, and like you can have stuff of that nature, but the worshiping thing, absolutely. Like that's the weird thing with like Catholicism that I'm not kind of on board with at all is the whole like where's the thing where it's like Mother Mary, is like a cohort in like being saved,
Right.
and it's like no,
Yeah.
she was not at all given that authority. That authority is only through Christ.
Yeah, you don't need to pray to
You
Mother
know?
Mary. You don't need to
Exactly,
accept Mother Mary as your Lord and Savior.
I
Like,
think
she
that
does
like
deserve
those
some
examples,
respect as the mother of Jesus,
yeah,
for sure. Don't disrespect fucking Mary.
yeah.
I'll fucking disrespect
That's like
you.
a very like no-brainer thing,
Yeah.
But we gotta be careful with what we give, because as you said in the beginning, and it's something that is just true with people, we have a worship in us.
It's in us. It's built in.
It's in us, and just be careful. Not even be careful. Know where to put that.
Mm-hmm.
Know where to put that.
Because it's going
Because
somewhere.
if you're putting it into the wrong things, it's not a good thing. All right, it'll manifest in bad ways.
And if you pay no attention to it and you think it's just going nowhere, it's going somewhere.
It does. It does. It coalesces and it's feeding something. It's feeding something. And so, I don't know. I like the idea of kind of the I wish that the church was something that I could kind of put a little bit more faith in, because I do have that hesitancy myself.
I wish anything was more worthy of my faith. I wanted to be a Pokemon master, the very best, like no one ever was. And Pokemon let me down like a fucking hot potato. Pokemon let me down so hard. Fucking the government Dude, I was raised by the most patriotic, red-blooded, fucking conservative mountain man you ever did see. I was so about the government growing up. I was like, America's the best. Our government's cool. We just gotta get the right fucking No. Nope. That's not how it works. Everything is fucked. Nothing is worthy of your faith except for God, it seems.
Yeah.
It would be
That's where it's kind of come to now.
It would be cool if there were other things, but then what? That's going to take away your veneration and your attention from God.
You know what I think is that it kind of could work in tandem, you know, where it's like things back in the day. Yes, there was deception happening back in the day. Yes, there was corruption. Yes, there was bad things happening. Okay, I'm not trying to say that like because there's this whole idea that like the past is like glory days, even when it wasn't. And it's like, no, I understand there was bad shit happening.
It's always been shitty.
But there was definitely more of a presence with these things, like with the country, with the church, with, you know, just certain things like family. You know, there was a presence there, and I think it's just because there were people that were with God, you know, that had God in their hearts and operated with God.
Yes, sir.
And they were a part of that. And I think that now not so many people are doing doing the things with God in their heart, and so these institutions are crumbling. But it's not to say that the institution's ideas are like a bad thing. Like America's ideals, it's not, dude, that is the only ideals I want in a nation ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Ever. Like period. Ever. In ever.
And guess where they come from, these American ideals. They're Christian ideals.
They're supposed to be. They're 100% supposed to be. And when it was run that way is that's when people had the faith in it, because it was like, it was working for God, you know, like, and it's the same thing with the church. And it's like now all these churches, you know, they're struggling, they're hard up for cash or whatever, and they're trying to freaking, you know, it's not about the message as much as it's about keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be about. If the church closes down, the church closes down. Guess what? We'll start another church.
Yeah, God will keep the church open if it's a good church.
Yeah, exactly, you know? And I think that kind of is what it's speaking to, you know, but everybody wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, they want to throw it all out because it's you know,
because the
a little bit of
Catholics
poison.
rape some kids, and the Muslims rape some kids, and the Jews rape some kids, and all these
everybody's
religions.
raped some kids,
yeah,
and it's like
all these different religions are full of pedophiles. So everybody's like, fuck all these religions. They all wage war against each other. They all kill each other.
No, that's humanity.
Yeah, that's humanity.
We have both sides to us.
That's why you can't be without God. Because left to your own devices, you thinking you're good, you're going to go kill somebody and think you're good. You're going to go diddle a kid and think you're good. You're going to steal and you're going to pillage, and, you know, you're going to think you're good. You're going to make all these mistakes with no moral ground.
Yes. And I think that's kind of the idea, man. You know, truly. It is.
Not you personally, humanity down the line when all of this is gone,
Yeah.
because everybody has nothing to believe in.
Yeah. It goes so much deeper, you know, where it's like this whole attack on the church, the attack on even the country, you know, it's from, if it isn't from, if we want to try to go away from the schizo shit, if it isn't from some group sitting in a dark room with cloaks on, sacrificing children, evil Satan shit. If it isn't that, then it is just this advent of letting sin take over. And sin could just be negative behaviors, self-worship, not believing in the highest ordering principle and life-giving power in the universe, you know? And that's huge. That's huge that we can break it down to that level, because it makes it simple. Truly. It makes it super simple and very clear to see. Like, if you see it like this, you're not going to see it any other way. You know? It's and when you get people together that feel and are on that same frequency, they work together. Right. You know, like there's almost like a telepathy that could happen where it's like we just know certain things are wrong, we know certain things are right, and we work, and then all of a sudden you get marble statues and beautiful architecture and awesome fucking governing principles and nations that are massively successful and prosperous. It's like an order to things, you know? And right now we're in the middle of a massive disordering of everything.
Yeah.
So get your order up. Get your order up with Jesus, and let's try to fucking turn the ship around a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit would be nice before I leave the mortal coil.
All right.
Super cool.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be really cool, dude.
With that, we're going to bid y'all adieu.
Hell yeah.
Definitely follow, rate, leave a comment about the video if you liked it, if you thought we were dumb, if you have anything to add or any personal experiences. We'd love to hear about them. Also, get ready for me to start plugging shit because nobody's doing the shit. So
I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it.
I'm gonna work on my radio voice. I'm gonna get real pluggy and YouTubey and fucking right in your face about it. Go to YouTube, go to Spotify, go to Facebook, go to Instagram. Check us out. Shoot us an email. Like, follow, subscribe, rate, comment. No, fuck all that.
Yeah, dude.
No, we really do need the support, though, because we're getting a lot of interaction, but nobody's doing the things. So if you could do the things, we really would appreciate it, guys. With that, we're out of here. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful.
Much love, much love.